decides to re-raise to $200. The oldest trick in the book just got deployed upon us. Player goes all in for 300 and some change. What is going on? We are headed out for an evening session. They say that's when the best games are, so let's get into this action. I go ahead and buy in for our normal $300, sit down at our table. I sit down, and although there is plenty of action, it is not with me. It takes me about 35 minutes to fold these 8 hands, and then on the button I look down at King 10 offsuit. After a few limps, I decide in position to raise it to $35. 2 early position limpers call the 35, and the flop comes queen high with 3 clubs. Under the gun has a weird $50 or $60 in his stack and decides to donk bet $15. The other player calls, and well, this is just an easy fold for me. I decided, after only seeing 9 hands in 45 minutes, and the fact there are some insanely large stacks at this table, to request a seat change. I go to a brand new table. First hand is a bomb pot where I call too many streets trying to suck out and missed, and I fold, losing about $40. Most of this session consists of me looking down at bad hands and folding, but there are a few small pots. Here there's a straddle on the button, small blind and big blind, call the $6 straddle. Under the gun and under the gun +1 also call. I'm in late position, look down at ace 10 offsuit. I send my squeeze to $45, folds to under the gun, who now goes all in for $71. The other player folds, and it's on me for $26 more. Easy call, although I am almost never ahead. And of course, it's Domination Nation when he tells us he has ace jack. We decide to run 1 flop with 2 turns and 2 rivers. The flop is ace queen deuce. First turn is a 3. First river is a 3, and that's a chop. Second turn is a deuce, which is another chop, but the river is a 10 and gives us a bigger 2 pair to get 3/4 of the pot. Definitely want to give a shout out to Chris though. He was a good sport. He follows me, and I took his last $71 when I got super lucky here on the river. I felt bad about it, but he's a good player, so I know he'll get it back. Next, I'm going to go over pretty much the only thought-provoking, interesting hand of this session, really. There is a $6 button straddle. The small blind calls the straddle. I look down at pocket 10s, and an Asian woman in the big blind opens to $40. This is a tough spot to be in. I've played with this lady before, and she's never doing this with any hand that I think 10s dominate. Folding here though feels too nitty, and raising just seems too spewy, especially given our stack size. So I elect to just call. I mean, I'm not really sure what you guys think you would do in this situation. Let me know in the comments. Now a guy in late position who has only played 1 hand so far also calls, and the button calls. The small blind folds. We are 4 ways to a flop that is jack 4-3. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. And now the original raiser checks. So I'm pretty sure at this point she has like ace king or ace queen suited. Again, now what do I do? With 2 players left to act behind, I mean, I could do something like a pro bet of, you know, $30 or $40 and see what happens. But if I get raised, then clearly we just fold. I decide though to check, and the guy who has only played 1 hand now bets $40. The button decides to fold, and she thinks for a very long time before folding. I really don't want to call this off and then face his jam on the turn, because I think he only has about 100 left behind, and if the turn is something like a 3 or a 4, then it's kind of I'm in the blender whether or not I want to call off with second pair. So I just decide to fold. I mean, I feel like I've talked this hand over. There's plenty of ways to play it, but most likely it's probably just a fold pre-flop, which just seems crazy to me because it's 10s and you're in Texas. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this hand. So I do a bunch more folding, which is pretty much how this entire session has gone. And then we look down at an Omaha hand where I have ace, king, 5, 6 with clubs. I go ahead and limp. We go 5 ways to a flop that is ace 3-7 with 2 clubs. There is a bet of $15 and 1 call. I decided to raise to $60 with top pair, a straight draw, and flush draw. A player behind me now goes all in for $81. The 2 other players fold, and of course I call for $21 more. We are off to a run out that is a 3 on the turn and a deuce on the river. I miss everything. He shows a set of 7s and takes it down. After losing this and pretty much being a very dry day where I fold most of my hands, can't win anything, it's about 10:30. I decide to take my remaining $66 and cash out and call it a night. So we're in for 300, out for 66 for a minus of $234 on the day. So we're going to check out Houston's newest poker room, Capri Poker House, see if they'll let us vlog. We tried to message them on Instagram. They didn't respond, but we're here early in the morning to see what's going on. Fortunately for us, they let us vlog, and I buy in for $200. The first interesting hand today, I'm in the small blind and look down at pocket 6s. There are a few limps, and late position raises the $15. The button calls, I call, and 3 other limpers also call. The flop is queen deuce 4 with 2 spades. Action checks all the way around, and the turn is another queen. Bringing in 2 hearts, now a 2-tone board. I lead out for $15, and the Asian guy next to me, with a wide range as he played a hand with 9-4 of hearts earlier, raises the $65. Everyone folds and it's back to me. Because this is a pretty polarizing situation where he either has a monster with a queen or a set of deuces or 4s, which is now a full house, or he has one of 2 flush draws, or just complete air, I decide to make the call. The river misses everything when the 10 of diamonds hits, and I check it over to him. Now he bets 65, and well, I have a decision to make, whether or not to hero call or just let it go. Here I am in the blender already. I beat all of his bluffs with his hand, and any of his semi-value hands like any random 10s or 7s, 8s, and 9s, he checks back. So I decide, since it's still polarizing, and it's my first buy-in, I call, and he quickly rolls queen 10, and well, we look like an idiot. I really have to stop thinking these guys are bluffing me. Anyways, I end up losing that $66 when I get 5s all in pre-flop versus queens in a straddled pot. I reload for $300. In this hand, I look down at pocket 8s. There is a $6 button straddle, 1 call, and I go ahead and raise it to $25. Both of the players to my left quickly call, and the button straddle also calls. We end up 4 ways to a flop that is absolute gin. Bingo, 8-7-3. I'm first to act with flopping top set. I'm trying to build this pot right now, so I decide to lead out, but with a smaller sizing of $35. I get 1 caller, which is the button straddler. The turn is the 9 of clubs, bringing in a few backdoor draws, and I'm not going to risk checking this as he could check this back a lot. So I decide to go for max value and size up and make a big bet of $145. Our opponent goes deep into the tank, making me think maybe this turn bet should have been a little closer to $80, $95 range, because I think if he's calling $100 to $115 bet, then he's gonna call $145 either way. So if I'm gonna size down, it should have been somewhere in that neighborhood. After thinking for quite a while, he does decide to let it go, and I win this one. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of my turn bet sizing here. Should we be going a little bit smaller here on this turn, or just pump it up and try to get it in right then and there? Well, here we go again. I look down at 2 red 10s, and there are 2 limpers. I make it $30 with pocket 10s. The gentleman who value bet us to death with queen 10 When we had pocket sixes, calls the $30. It folds back to the early position limper, who now decides to re-raise to $200. The oldest trick in the book just got deployed upon us. And here we are again with pocket tens. I ask him how much he has behind, and after the count, it's about $172. I genuinely think / feel in my gut here that he has ace king, but this limp re-raise is so strong, it's almost always aces or kings. Add in that I have a player behind me to act that has about 400 in his stack. This is a pretty clear fold. Player behind us also folds. The raiser doesn't show, but the player behind pays the dealer $1 to rabbit hunt the flop. And it would have been, as he shows, 10, 10, 7. We would have king flopped quads. On top of that, there was a promotion running and any quads got paid $250. At the end of the day, it was a correct fold, and that's way better than winning. Also, I paid the dealer $1 to never do that ever again while I'm at the table. Here again, I am in the small blind. There's a late position raise to $15, and I look down at ace jack of hearts. I could 3-bet this hand, but this player has been fairly tight, and I'm just not feeling it, so I call. We are heads up to a flop that comes jack 5-6 with 2 clubs. Great flop. I have top. I decided to use a little deception and check, and our opponent does us the favor by betting $20. Of course, I call, and the turn is a 10. I check again, but this time he wises up, it doesn't work, and he checks back. The river comes the beautiful ace of diamonds. I can't risk checking again, so I lead for $40, and he makes the call, and I ship it. Sadly, our opponent does not show his hand. Now let's go ahead and get into the last hand of the night. I'm in late position and pick up pocket tens. Well, here we go again. There is one limp and I raise to $25. The button, newer player to the table, might be action, calls 25, and the limper calls. We are 3 ways to a flop of ace 8, 4 with 2 hearts. The limper checks. I have a lot more aces in my range, and I would like to fold out any Broadway hands here, so I see bet $50. Button calls 50, and middle position folds. The turn is an offsuit 3. Not really changing much, but after the button had called the flop, I think he has a lot of flush draws here, and also some ace X. I check expecting most flush draws, and weak ace is to check back. The button has other plans and bets $100. I have a funny feeling here he doesn't have an ace though, but I've already reached my hero call limit today, so I fold, and the button gladly shows us 5-7 of hearts. Sigh. This session has not exactly gone my way. It's been up and down, and after 5.5 hours, I decide to rack up and head out, cashing out for $523 with a total profit of $23. Before we get into this action, guys, we came out today to see Wolf Park in Galveston. It's a beautiful place right on the bay. Has a park for kids. You can fish. You can go to the Naval Museum, see a submarine from World War II. I'm going to show you guys around. What's up? We're pulling up semi-early morning. It's about 10 a.m. I'm hoping there's at least 1 or 2 games so we could get right into this action. We are here. Let's go.
300.
Yes, sir. So we open up a new table and I win quite a few smallerish pots that are not that interesting. So our stack is about $500 or so. So session 3 has started off pretty well. When there is a dealer change and it's a bomb pot time, I'm in the best possible position on the button and look down at King 9 4 2 with 2 clubs. Not a great hand, but in bomb pot anything can happen. I have to keep my hand up because it takes my puppy brain a little longer to soak in what's happening. We end up with a flop on the top board that is King 8 4. The bottom board is Queen Jack 10. Pretty good flop. 2 pair on the top and the second nut straight on the bottom. A player bets $20 and there's 1 call. I need to find out who has what and where I'm at, so I raise the $60. And only the original better calls. The turn on the top is a 3 and a 9 on the bottom. That doesn't really change much, although it's possible we could be chopping the bottom now. He just called my raise on the flop and now he leads turn for $30. This is very suspicious, so I just go ahead and call. The river on the top is an ace and a 6 on the bottom. He leads again now for $50, and now I'm very concerned he has ace king, which will scoop me on both boards. I think this is a very player dependent situation, but we're also getting great odds. Have you ever been in a situation where you just feel beat but you can't fold? This is exactly how I felt. I felt he has to have ace king here, but I'm getting 6.2 to 1, so I literally only have to be right 1 of 7 times to break even. I can't fold, so I make the call, and he shows us 10-10 queen 7. Somehow I scoop the entire pot. This game, it surprises you sometimes. My stack is looking decent. I lose a few small pots before looking down at 9-10 suited in the big blind. There's a $10 raise, 1 call, and the small blind calls $10. For me, calling here is fine, but $10 bets don't normally convey strength here, so I feel like this is a good spot to squeeze. So I 3-bet to $40. The original raiser folds, which is good news, but the other 2 players call. And now the flop comes ace queen 8. And generally speaking, this is not a good flop for my hand as I only have an inside straight draw to the second nuts. But this is a great flop for my big blind 3-betting range against these 2 opponents who just called. So when the small blind checks, I decide to lead for $60 for the bluff. And it works. Both players fold and we take this one down. Now under the gun, I look down at pocket 10s. This hand again. Can I win with this one time? I decide to make a raise of $23, Michael Jordan. And I get absolutely no callers. No complaints here rather than losing. And now I think this is the biggest pot of the entire 3 sessions that I've played. We are of course playing Omaha, and there is a raise to $15 from under the gun. I look down at deuce deuce 3-3, and there is a 3-bet to $50. I am deep enough with both of these players to set mine, so I just go ahead and make the call of $50. The big blind calls and the original raiser of $15 also comes along. So we are 4 ways to a flop that is ace queen 3. The big blind and under the gun check, and the 3-better now bets full pot of $200. And boy am I in the blender, because we all know that people don't 3-bet or make big pot size raises or bets in Omaha without aces. And there is an ace on the board, but I'm thinking maybe it's possible he makes a raise with ace king queen jack double suited or something along those lines. I can't let it go just yet, so I go ahead and make the call of $200. The big blind has maybe $60 left. He puts it in, and under the gun folds. The turn is a complete brick, as I was looking for the 4th 3 for quads, and now the player goes all in for 300 and some change. And well, I can't call it off. I know he has aces now. So I just go ahead, lay it down. He does show that he had aces, and we lose a pretty significant pot. We don't play for much longer before racking up and heading to the cage, cashing out for a total of $384 for a total profit of $84 on the day. I appreciate you guys watching. This vlog was a lot of work. I'll give an update on the bankroll and more next week. See you guys then.